I'm Marlene Mireles, physical therapist, hosting the Pediatric Telehealth Coffee Hour. And I'm here with Marissa of Sammy Goes to Speech. And Marissa's going to talk about her book, her blog, and also the adorable picture of her daughter that she submitted to be our August group pick. So let me share my screen so that way we have the picture up at the same time. Marissa, can you give us a background on the picture that you submitted?
Sure. So this is a picture of my daughter. She's about 18 months right now. And this was actually when I was visiting my sister, and I had to use her living room for some of my teletherapy sessions. And my daughter saw me using my headphones. And of course, she wanted to try them on. So I thought it was the most adorable thing ever, of course. And so I snapped a picture. And for the rest of the trip, she was trying to steal them from me and put them on.
Yeah, she's a future telehealth therapist.
There you go.
And then I thought something else was interesting we were talking about before the recording is that your headphones are actually gamer headphones, right? And no noise canceling, and they've worked out really well with telehealth. So that's pretty
great. They're actually I was telling you, they're my husband's old gamer headphones. And when I started doing teletherapy, he's like, why don't you try these? I'm like, okay. And then when I first started trying them, I was like, these are so great. So yeah, now I use them for all the teletherapy sessions, and they work pretty well.
Yeah, I'm going to have to steal some of my kids. They have some headphones too, but it has like the mic coming down this way, but I can hear you really good, and you don't have the mic there. So I'm going to have to look into that. So let's talk about how has COVID and the pandemic impacted, because you will have your own practice, right? Mm-hmm. And so how has it impacted your practice and your therapy delivery?
Good question. So it has definitely impacted it a lot. Like I'm sure most people would say. I actually started my practice just a month or two before COVID hit. So my initial plan was to do all early intervention and go into people's homes and face-to-face. And of course, that wasn't a reality when I started. So I really looked into teletherapy and started that. And I was really nervous at first because I hadn't ever done anything like that. But I actually love it. I love it now so much, and I think it's for some families even better than in-person services because of the amount of parent participation you get, which is so huge in early intervention and other ages as well, but I think particularly for early intervention, it's been awesome.
Yeah, and I think on our messages we talked about how like the coaching model has really fit in well with telehealth, and it's even made it better in some cases because it's like you really are a fly on the wall, seeing how like and helping them in their own environment. And then let's see, I have some questions here. This was kind of like an impromptu interview. So we were also going to talk about, and then I have an interview later on the week with another therapist about sharing videos or screenshots. Like, do you use what kind of tools do you use during your sessions to help your families understand what you're trying to have them do?
Yeah, so I definitely use like screen share if I want to share any documents or something like that, especially at the very beginning. I typically share a document that kind of goes over what early intervention is, what it looks like, so they can see it and hear it from me. But for early intervention, I don't typically use a lot of the special tools. But for older kids, I found that I use it a lot. I like boom cards. I know everyone probably says that, but I have found boom cards to be a lifesaver, and a lot of good resources on there are free. So it's worked really well. And then I've also been using some super duper cards online, and there's other websites that have free games and free books and videos. Like, there's a lot that you can do online that is sometimes, like I said, even better than in person. So
yeah, that's awesome. And then let's see, we also, so do any of the with anything that you use with screenshots or anything, do you ever use that in the patient charts also to help? Are you cash based, or do you submit to insurance?
with my own practice, I am cash-based. So I typically will have a patient portal, and then clients can pay online or through the system I use Simple Practice.
Okay.
They can store their credit card on there for me to charge.
Okay.
So it's all private pay right now, although I am looking into getting credentialed with insurances. It's a process, but
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, because I'm curious, like if depending on what you're doing, if some of that stuff will help with reimbursement or anything.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, I'm cash based too. And then with my contractor job, I don't, they do the billing. So I don't, but they haven't had us take screenshots or asked us to do anything like that.
Mhm.
And what is your main go-to activity that you found works well in telehealth?
Um, Since I'm mostly doing early intervention right now, I thought a lot about this question, and I was like, there's not a particular activity that I go to. It's just whatever the parents are doing right then in their house within their routines. That's my go-to activity. So, if their session is at 11, and at 11 they're always doing snack time, then that's what we'll do. Or if 11 o'clock they're starting to get ready for nap time, we go through that routine together, and how to encourage communication through just every part of a child's routine during their daily lives.
Okay, yeah, good. And are you planning to resume face-to-face or start face-to-face visits, or have you, or?
I actually have one evaluation scheduled that I made sure would be face-to-face. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I do have, all the different PPE things in place. I've got my mask, I've got my gloves, and, I've asked parents to take temperatures before I get there. And, I'm going to make sure I have wipes to wipe everything down and not bring any of my own materials if I can help it.
Right.
But I think for therapy sessions moving forward, it'll probably mostly just be telehealth still. But for this particular evaluation, I think it really needed to be face-to-face, and I'm kind of taking it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. Let's also talk about your book. Can you tell us about Sammy Goes to Speech, and then we can do our little teaser that we planned.
Okay. So Sammy Goes to Speech was a project that was very near and dear to my heart, and I was really inspired by a lot of the families that I saw when I first started as an SLP, and I found that a lot of parents in the areas I was working in didn't have the support of other parents whose kids were in speech. Their kid was the only one that they knew who was in speech. There were no parent support groups. There was no, family-friendly way to talk about speech. And so I really wanted to do this book to help support the families that I work with. And it's just a really cute little story about a little boy who thinks he's lost his voice. And he goes to a speech therapist, and I won't give too much away, but it's pretty cute. And there's tips and activity ideas at the end. And it talks about what families can do if they think their child might have a speech concern. So I'm hoping it's a good resource for some families.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing the teaser. So our plan is to give everybody a little teaser of the book and keep you wanting more. So Marissa's going to read for 1 minute, and then that's it. You have to get the book to to hear the ending. So I'm going to pull up the cover title. And also, Marissa, I had so right before we started recording, I had copy and pasted the questions that I told you I was planning to ask you onto Word. But then during the transition, somehow it went to questions for my interview later in the week. So that's why those screenshot questions were in there that you're like, wait a minute, she didn't, like, where did those come from? But I'm glad, because I'll still ask the other person those questions, but it's like, well, it's good to get points of view from different people. So thank you for.
Sure, no problem.
So let me open up. I'm going to share my screen so we have the book cover, and then I'm going to start my timer. And on your mark, get set, go.
So this is Sammy Goes to Speech. I'm Sammy. I'm 3 years old. I think someone took my voice. Mommy comes in every morning to wake me up. She tickles me until I giggle. I want to tell her so much, but I can't. Where's your voice? Who took it? I try to say, it's right here. All that comes out is air. I really, really want to talk. Let's go find your voice. We look under the bed. Is your voice under here? No, it isn't there. We look in the closet. Is your voice in here? It's not here either. Did Mr. Monster take it? Did Maggie lick it and accidentally swallow it? Silly Maggie. I think my voice might be gone forever. You just got to find that voice. The next day, Mommy and I go to see Miss Hunter. I get to play with toys in the waiting room. Oh.
Sorry, everybody. That's all that you get. And then you also, and I loved that. I want to know what's going to happen.
Oh.
That's so cute. I love it.
Thanks.
So tell me a little bit about your blog, The Explorer's Communication.
So, yeah, it's communication exploration, and it's just something I recently started. There's a local magazine, the Roanoke Valley Family Magazine, and I saw that they were looking for bloggers, and I was like, oh, how perfect would that be to be able to talk about communication topics, but also, you know, I have this passion for writing. I've done quite a bit of blogging and writing in the past as well, so I was like, oh, that's just perfect for me. So I signed on, and I've been doing a little series about fun things you can do to develop communication at home. And it's just been a really fun outlet, and hopefully also another good resource for families in my community.
That's so awesome. And will you share the link to the blog under the comments when I post the video, and then a link to your book? I know you posted it a while back, but it's been a while. So if you could put those links in, do you do Instagram or?
I don't have Instagram, but there is a Facebook page for it, and a website, so I can definitely post those.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. And then I always ask everyone at the end, how do you drink your coffee or your morning drink?
My morning drink. I like iced lattes. I like them bought rather than homemade. I actually make coffee quite a bit, but I much prefer to go out to a coffee shop and get a nice iced latte.
That sounds delicious. So thank you everybody for joining us today, and go out and get Sammy Goes to Speech and check out Marissa's blog. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.